In today's lesson, I'm going to talk about the inspect element in Chrome. I think in Explorer they call it click select element by click. So what it allows us to do is I've got a Google web page here, and I want to go ahead and change the HTML code myself. For example, by default, I hate white as a background color for Google. Well, you can go ahead and change it as any way you want by looking at the HTML code. So first, how do we get to the HTML code in Explorer? I'll just deal with Explorer. Again, we're going to be updating our version of Explorer for next year, but at least we'll get started on the basics of it. So you got two options. You can either click F12 or press the little tool clog. Tool, I think, clog, I call it. There's actually another name for it, but anyway. And then we go over to F12 Developer Tools. And what's going to happen is you got over here, you've got the HTML, CSS, console, script. So if you've got a JavaScript, it would show up under here. This is the actual Google script as to what happens. Console allows you to check some things, make some changes, and you can show them up in console. CSS is obviously the style tape sheet. And then finally the HTML code. Now obviously if I want to see more, simply click the plus sign. Obviously our head section, and then our body, etc. So next thing I want to talk about is the inspect element. So it's under here under find. So click under find, select element by click. So what does that do for me? That means I can, as you see, get these highlights as I move my mouse. So what happens is each of these individual elements I can change. Most of the time these pictures are coming from Google, so you can actually go ahead and throw in your own. But you can do that. So for number one is select elements and then changing those elements by simply clicking on them. The next one is, well, I don't want to do that. I want to go ahead and select the entire body. So click here to body, and then you can go ahead and see what we've got in terms of styles. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to select the HTML command, body, class, HQ, Vasquez, so etc., etc. This is all things that Google have put in. So it's just a check. Look, if it's a certain region, then load this image for my Google. Now we can go ahead here, and here we can see the styles associated with our body. And all you could do here is simply go ahead and change them. The color they use is RGB, red, green, blue. So I want to go ahead and just simply go ahead and change color. So let's do 12, 12, 12. That's going to give me sort of black. Again, you can put in any color you want, semicolon there, just as we usually do. Press enter, and the web page now uploads. Now remember, this web page is only one instance. If I refresh my web page, I'm going to get a white background as usual. But this is one of those areas where, hey, Mr. Korea, you're way too slow, I'm bored. Start to go ahead and check out web pages and start changing them yourselves. Put in your padding box. Start to play games with margins and see what it does for you. Again, Google is a nice place to start. You should recognize most of all of these. But again, you can see what changes. Again, click on the body command, not the plus. You don't get much. You'll just get select. Then you can select each one of these HTML commands and you can find more detail on the input. This is the input I want for right here. Again, I can do also click by element. So anyway, just an introduction to F12 Developer Tools and Explorer, and where I can go ahead and change web pages that are loaded on my machine to what I want. Inspect element in Explorer. And then I'll do a separate video next year on Chrome. End of lesson.